everybody, and welcome to the FloTrack podcast presented by Wonderful Pistachios. I'm Livek Pone, joined with Ashley Tishins, Corey Mall, and the one and only King Quincy. We're not at the pad because we came to Quincy. He's had an eventful morning on the very first off day, but we're super excited. And again, with all the content that we're bringing to you guys, check out our YouTube, the website, check out our social media channels as well, because we're dropping reels left and right. But nonetheless, I want to dive into this because Quincy, we have such a huge honor being with you. You have set the national high school record not once, but twice here at the U.S. Olympic Trials, even the U18 record, dropping it all the way down to 44.59. So we want to thank you so much for joining us and having us crashing on your party too.
Thank you guys so much for having me. Thank you.
Okay, so Quincy, talk to us about this U.S. Olympic Trials experience. What has been the highlight for you, and what has been the biggest takeaway?
So the U.S. Olympic Trials was something really new to me. It was a testament on how I'm going to be able to handle the rounds, the pressure, the different adversities that I'm going to go through. And so this week, I think I handled it very well. You know, the first round we came and we ran 44.66. Yeah. 44.66. You know, the numbers have just still just running through my head. You know, 44.66, and you know, just like the first round, people were just like, he's not gonna run the rounds right. Like he ran out and ran it. He blasted it out his first round. But if you look at my first 200, it looked like really smooth. So I just knew that. Just believing in my training and just trusting on different things. Like I knew I had it in me. So just being smooth, because I think I've gotten way stronger than I have in the past years, you know, from indoor to now. Like I have gotten a lot stronger, and that's what I think has shown the last 100 in my races. The block starts, I'm able to run 21.3 way easier. I can sprint way better. I can stay more calm throughout the races and not panicking, and I think that's what helped me come out here. And it was basically testing on how am I going to be able to run the rounds, and that's one of the things I think I did really good, even though I was like my slowest race, but what is still a great time was the finals of the 44.94. But I still think like that performance right there goes down in the record books as well. So it's just like it was a win all at itself. Mm-hmm.
Now for that first round, how much of a percentage were you using of like your capacity? Was it like 90% effort, 85? Because I was one of those people that was like, oh gosh, Quincy just like did the 44.6, and I'm like, what does he have left? But from how you felt, how much energy do you think you exerted in the first round?
So, you know, coming through the 300, I think I was like 80%, but you know, I came through the 80%, but then I seen the people on the inside, but like I knew what I wanted going through the rounds. Like I wanted to set myself up for the best possible outcome. So I told myself, regardless of the last 50, I'm not gonna fight. Like I'm gonna stay at where I am. And so the last 50, I just stayed smooth. And when I stay smooth and don't panic as much, the times come easier for me. So, you know, I finished at like a 12 flat. So it was a 44.6, but I think like the last 100, I came up to like 90% because, you know me, the last 100 is like one of my best parts of my races this season. So, you know, I think that was like one of my biggest things this weekend is my last 100. But I think it was about 80% coming through 300, then finishing out was like 90%. Mm-hmm.
You talked about, you know, like people, you know, getting that buzz, like, oh, can Quincy Wilson handle the rounds? And that was something you really want to do well. And obviously you had your three best performances arguably of your career here. Like, and if you look at your outdoor season, right, like it was obvious that you were, you know, focusing on the trials, you know, you weren't running as much. Like, how do you think, you know, Coach Jolie and everyone at Bullis, like, what were they telling you and helping you prepare for, obviously, this huge moment for you at just 16?
So, you know, we had a plan, but our plan was interrupted with many things. Like I had a lot of different things that happened throughout the season. Like May 6th, I was in the hospital. I was hospitalized. I couldn't get on my run for like a week or two. So it's just like, my training stopped. So right after that day that I ran 44, I think it was 17 at Puma, I was hospitalized the next day. So it was just like, what can I do to get back into what I want to run? And so I told myself, I came back probably a couple weeks later, and I was just like, it was getting real close to nationals and trials, and they kept asking me, are you ready? Are you even ready to run? So I ran a quick meet. I ran the 100 and the 200. I ran 10.7 and 21.1. My coach was just like, I don't know if we should do. I said, Coach, just trust me. Trust our training. And we went back, and he trusted me. Like as a coach, you coach as an athlete. The athlete trusted, like the coach trusted the athlete, and he trusted me. And so, you know, I came out there and I kept working my tail off, but my times weren't clicking at practice. But I told them, just give me a couple of weeks. It takes time for you to get back into your system. So regardless, I was still working extremely hard at the time I was. My times just weren't hitting. But I knew I was still working extremely hard. So I told myself, just stay calm. You still got time to go. And I promise you, before the 4 nationals, my times were clicking. Like, they were clicking. Every single work, like every single mark I was supposed to hit was hitting. And everything the time the coach said, you're on a pace for 44.5. And I was just like, oh, all right, you're lying to me, coach. Like, come on. Like, and then I went to nationals, and I was just trying to see, like, nationals was a pre-race for me. Like, that was gonna be my ultimate test on, am I gonna go to trials? I ran a 45.1. Coach was just like, well, I think you're there. Like, I think you're there. And so I was just like, coach, again, just trust me. We're going to go to trials. We're going to knock this thing out. Then I came back the next day, and because, you know, I've been sick, so I was just like, how can I handle that? And so 45, and then I went and split 45.1 again. He was like, all right, you're ready. That's like really a 44. Like, you basically like 2 days on your legs and you ran 45.1. Like, you're consistent. You've been consistent throughout that 45.1, and now this is your best 45.1, and you were running 45.1 before you got sick, so you're ready. Like, you've been putting in that work, you're ready. So he said, trust me, when you go out there, just run your race plan, don't psych them out, and just go out there and run your race. And so that's what I did. The whole race I did, and I was like, I think I was in the restaurant with Vernon yesterday, and he was like, what I tried to do, I tried to pull out an OG move on you. You know, I tried to get out. You know, I got out. He said, I thought I was going to see you behind me. I was like, nah. He said, then he looked up at the board and he seen Deadman was on me. He said he was thought I was going to go again with another gear, so I was going to burn out. I was like, nah, I didn't go. And then he was just like, you came on the 300, you started picking it up, but he was like, you still didn't hit that extra gear where you were going to burn out that last 100. Then he said, you were reeling us in that last 100. He was like, you're ready. That's a pro move right there. Yeah, so it just, like I said, I was just being patient throughout the season. Like I said, trusting your process, trusting your coach, telling your coach to trust you, and he's listening. And so that's how you know, like, you just have two great people working together. I think that's a great thing. So,
do you mind if I ask and go back to what you started with? Right. I don't think any of us knew that you had been hospitalized after Puma. Do you mind elaborating a little bit on what happened after you were running that 45.17 and that obstacle?
Yeah, so what happened was, well, I wasn't really trying to say too much before I came out here because I didn't want to put like too many excuses out in the air. But when I first, it was like, I got like a really bad stomach virus. Like, I woke up in the middle of the night, like I was throwing up, like just constantly. I couldn't stop. And I wasn't able, the thing that messed my training up the most when I was there, I had to take like medicine because I couldn't drink or eat. So my hydration's off. And then I couldn't eat protein. I lost like 5 to 7 pounds. And I was just like, that right there in the track is like bad. Like, you can't recover from that. And so like I kept like hydrating, kept replenishing myself and to make sure that I was at the best possible way I could. But it was extremely hard to come back. Like, I'm gonna tell you, that was hard working, like making yourself come from that, like that was hard. But like I said, I didn't post that on the internet or anything like that because I didn't want anyone to be like, you make excuses coming to nationals or trials or anything like that. Nah, but I just kept working hard to get, because I told myself I'm gonna be there, and that's your dream. If that's your dream, you can put your mind to it, and I put my mind to it, and I really did.
Several veteran men that are here this week have performed when they were in high school. Michael Norman, Noah Lyles, they competed when they were in high school, but they weren't as polished as you. I mean, you're at a level of polish that like someone can dream of at your age. Where do you attribute that polish? Like, where did you get that? You're a great student. I mean, where do you attribute that to?
I just think it's the hard working. Like, you just want to be, because at the end of the day, track is gonna end someday. Like, it's regardless of how bad you want it. The track is gonna something. You can get old, an injury can happen, anything can happen any day. My mom always said the education is gonna be there. Nobody can take the education away from you, and that's one thing that I'm gonna say. Like, when I put my education always comes first. And if you educate yourself, you can educate yourself on a track. You can educate yourself on different things, health, nutrition, sleep, and things like that. And if you're educated on the certain things, like I say, like if you're in school and you learn different things about physics, that's how you be able to run. You learn different things in biology, that's on your body, on how you can make sure your body's clean and things like that. And if you use that and just put it to track, I promise you the higher velocity, for like push speed, like everything comes off of science. So track is 100% off science, and I love science. So it's just like, this is my thing, how I can put it together. And like everybody knows like my form is different, but like some of the things that I work on, like some of the things that like my head, of course, but like my arms, when it comes to my arms, I'm still moving. It's just different. It's just a different way that I swing them. And if you think about it, like I'm not really getting too tight, and that's what I think. Like I have like extremely long arms, and so I'm thinking like, what can I do to like, if I bring them short, I'm shortening my legs. So it's just like a whole different thing, like a lot of things that go into it. Like it's a lot that I can work on too, and that's what the thing that my window is so big of working on, and that's one of the things like I think I'm really coachable, and listening to any coach that tells me, well, my coach, I listen to Coach Lee that tells me the things that I need to work on because he knows what's best for me. He studies and stays up late to tell me what I need to work on.
I want to talk about the Magic here because outside of Hayward Field Magic, you've seen Corey and I, we're in the mix zone, we're in the back tent. Ashley's actually inside the stadium. And the very first day when they announced your name, I knew the loud roar was for you. And Ashley immediately texted us and said, literally Hayward has Quincy's back. I don't think you have any haters out there, but how do you just balance all of that energy, just knowing so many people support you and want to see you thrive? How does that make you feel, and how do you just soak all of that in as well?
It's extremely motivating. Like, that's one of the things that I like about track and field, you know? Like, the way that you carry yourself, the way you carry yourself on and off the field, like kids if they want to take a picture, of course. Like, I was in the position that everyone wanted to look up. I was that kid at AAU 2016 looking up to Tyrese Cooper saying, what can I do to get like him? Like, I wanted the pictures. I literally told my mom, we're behind the stands, I was getting a slushie after, I think I got 4th place. I told my mom, what can I do to get the same hype as him? She said, Quincy, just keep working hard. You're on the right path. And so I just, like I said, like when you have like a great support system, you just trust them. Like you just keep on trusting them and keep working on it. Like it may not come, like you said, of course I wanted top 3 to victory, but like I said, I'm gonna just keep trusting my process. I'm gonna keep going back to the drawing board, look at the race of what I can do. If I'm here next year, I'm gonna be studying this year's race on what I can do. When I go to practice, I'm gonna make sure that I run in all different lanes on each different rep so I can get ready and realize how does it feel if I'm in lane 1? What do I gotta do if I'm in 2, 3, 4, 5? I'm gonna make sure that I run at Bullish Track, every single lane on the track, every day. Like make sure I run at it. So I'm used to all, cause like in high school, you're automatically put into that top lane. Like you already matter, and you're in the best lane, middle of the track. You can see everybody, you feel the best ones are behind you. And that's one thing that I think I wasn't as used to. And that's one of the things I wasn't thinking that much about because, you know, you get 4th at like a high school meet, you're still getting in one of the preferred lanes, but there's a difference between a big Q, a little Q, the different politics in that. So that's one of the things that I wasn't really used to. And it kind of threw me off a little bit. But next year, you come in with a stronger and more mature mind. Those are things that you can be like, I've already experienced. And so like, I think that I will be ready. And like I said, Hayward, it was just great running on the track. Like I promise you, I was bouncy. I was more bouncy than I ever been. I was more excited than I ever been. I was like, I promise you, when I came out here, I had no nerves. Like it was straight excitement. Yeah.
Okay, I want to ask you this. I've seen that, you know, obviously so many people have supported you. I saw on Twitter, Deion Sanders called you out on Twitter. Is that kind of surreal to see like people even outside the track community like taking notice of you? And also, are there any other like people that have reached out to you or on social media or personally that you didn't expect?
So yes, it's been a lot. You know, you had Deion Sanders, you had Snoop Dogg, you had Tyreek Hill, you had like a lot of famous people. But then I got a text this morning. You know, when I was like 8, 7 years old, of course my favorite team, I live in Maryland, so my favorite team is the Baltimore Ravens. So, you know, I looked at my phone this morning, I got a friend request from Ray Lewis, and it was just like, and he sent me a message. I go check, and he sent me a message like, keep doing your thing, and I'm always rooting for you. And that's like, I woke up on a positive note. I was just like, I literally have him in my trophy stand with a bobblehead of him. I literally have a bobblehead of him, and it's just like. I don't you have no words for it because it's just like your hard work is really paying off, and it's just like unfolding in front of your eyes. So it's like crazy. Like Ray Lewis has always been he's been my dream person to go out. I was telling my mom I was just playing around the house. I was gonna do his entrance coming in Hayward, but I was just playing around. Like it was just amazing, you know, when you get those texts and just like different Ravens fans. You know, I hope I get to go. I've been to I think it was 4 or 5 games this season. So it's just like. I'm an extremely big Ravens fan. Do you know that Ravens fan come out there and Ray Lewis, of course, it's just like, oh my God.
It's funny you bring up entrance into the track. I'm curious, if you were given music to walk out to, what would you walk out to?
What would I walk out to? What would I walk out to? It'll probably be some Lil Baby Gunna. It'll probably be something to hype, like get the crowd hype, but nothing too crazy. No, it might be a little crazy, you know? It might be a little crazy, get everybody hype. Because if there was music playing the whole while going around the track, I promise, it's 42. Like, I'll be so hyped, I'll be just running, let's go. Yeah, it will be crazy, yeah.
What do these next couple days look like for you? Because obviously you had team processing today, top 6, so like the conversation about potentially being in that relay pool is there for you, but you won't find out till June 30th. So, you know, what do these next couple days look like for you, and how are you feeling just mentally about it? Are you anxious because it's like, dang, I gotta still wait, or just how are you feeling about it?
I mean, I'm praying on it. I'm praying on it constantly because you never know what could happen. Like, it's a lot of politics when it comes into that, and you know, you don't really know. But like, as much as I can say, regardless if they take me or not, like, I've worked hard for this moment. Like, I'm 16. If I keep working hard, keep praying on it, and everything still goes well, I have many more to come. And so it's just like, keep working, Quincy. Like, one day you may be going to the Olympics on your own. Like, you can do this. So it's just like, if they take me, they're gonna get the best effort of me. Like, the USA will be, like I said in the previous interview, they're gonna get great efforts from me because I'm gonna run my heart out like I do in every single race. Like, there's not one inch that I didn't give enough. Like, I'm gonna give my heart, but if I'm not on the team, you know, I just go back to the drawing board, and it's gonna motivate me even more to just come out here and just be like, I mean, like, what can I say? Like, I'm going in 11th grade next year. They asked me what you do over the summer. I got 6 at the Olympic trials. I mean, like, I mean, there's nothing really you can say negative about that, for real. So, you know, I'm just blessed to even be in this opportunity to be out here just running. So, I hope I'm able to make the team. But if I don't, it's still a win. I was still able to come out here, and I finished healthy. But that's the main thing, because like you see, there's many people, yesterday, like I almost got into tears when a thing didn't make it, like things like that. You never know, like even though you're 6th place and you don't know you're in things, but like think about someone that has worked extremely hard for it as well, and it's just like something just didn't go out. But I know great things are gonna happen to her. God has her, and so I think a lot of great things gonna happen to her as well. So you never know when it comes to track and different things. That's one of the things I like about track. Like, I mean, they're going to take the best people that they think on the team. The times speak for themselves. So, I mean, you never know what could happen.
Now, I know you mentioned this earlier. I mean, we've seen you, we've been covering you since you were in AAU. You know, as a little kid, like, you've been around it and you've been so good for so long. But for a lot of people, even though you are just 16, like, this was their first introduction to you, right? Like, I mean, again, like, we know you as, like, the high school phenom, you know, but not everyone else knew that. So, like, what do you hope people almost like take away from almost their introduction to Quincy Wilson?
Just that, like, I hope that, like, throughout the years that I still get the same hype. Like, you know, I'm gonna make sure that, like, when I come out here, like, I'm gonna give everybody my best effort. And that's one of the things I think that they like, that the people, like, they adore. Like, I wanna come out here and give everybody the best showing. I don't wanna just give them a false advertisement. I want to be at the meet so I can give them the best advertising. Like, the thing about track these days, like, it's not enough hype. We need to bring the hype more to track and field because there is a lot of great runners. It's just, I don't want to be the person to not talk to the kids or run away from the crowd or something like that. Like, I want to be able to talk to them because at the end of the day, you were one of those kids in the stands looking at them like, how can I get this far? Like, what am I doing? And I knew I was one of those kids. And so I want to be able to give back to the track community. And if you give back, more to receive, of course. So if I give back more, it's more I'm going to receive. Just getting a little what's up, that could mean somebody's day, and that could take them so far away. And so people are going to pray for you more. People are going to do more things. And if people are praying for you more, like, a lot of great things are going to work out. If more people are praying for you, it's just like, I mean, great things are just going to unfold in front of your eyes.
The one thing that really stands out about you is your maturity. I mean, I think this is, like, well beyond, you know, anyone in this position. Like, your maturity is so far ahead. And just that call out you had about, you know, the plights of track and field, it doesn't always go people's way. That's a deep understanding of this sport that most people won't realize. So that speaks to you. I'm curious, people know you are a great track athlete. What is it about you? You talked about gaming.
Yes, sir.
In the mix zone, war zone. You go back there.
Of course.
What's your setup?
What's my setup?
Yeah. Are you going live? Do you
setup?
have the gamer headset?
So,
Are you?
I got all the gamer headset. I got the keyboard in front of my monitor. But what I need to get like a real gaming setup. I took from when I moved from Virginia to Maryland, right? I took one of my desks that I used to do from quarantine and just put it on the side of my room, put my gaming stuff on it, and just started gaming. Like I said in the previous interviews, if y'all think I'm really good at track, you should see me on a game. I'm really good at the game, but like I said, I'm gonna start streaming so people can see more of me and see more of my personality and things like that. Just like the YouTube channel, now that track is over, well, it's not really, you never know if it's over.
Never
know.
know.
The 30th, but yeah, but more now that I have more downtime, I can say not school as much and not nationals or anything, look more, and I'm gonna try to post more.
Can I ask you a follow-up here? I mean, obviously, you don't want to give away maybe your call name or your username.
Of course.
But it's not like Quincy Wilson 16, is it?
No, it's not. It's
Okay,
not. It's
okay.
not.
Okay, I have a follow-up because I don't know if you know, but I play Fortnite.
Oh, you do?
I love Fortnite.
You-
But so you're one of the PC users?
Yeah,
Y'all drive
yeah.
me nuts.
Yes,
So
yeah.
you don't use the console?
No, I don't.
Quincy.
Quincy,
y'all kill me.
I'm nice. Yeah, we do kill you. We kill you in the game. Of course. But it's just I can play. I can play both. Honestly, I can play both. I'm good at both. But when it comes to other games, I play controller. But when it comes to Fortnite, you're getting kind of killed.
Okay, I have another fun question. Now that I know we talked about AAU earlier, and when you made the call out to you as a kid, it reminded me of, I know you've seen the interview. There's this old interview of you that I found last year, and you're 8 years old, and you're being asked what your favorite breakfast is,
Eggs,
before a race.
bacon in there,
Yeah.
waffles, eggs, bacon in there.
That's still your pre-race breakfast.
Hey, you want to know the day before when I ran 44.5, I had waffles and eggs and bacon. I didn't have the ham part, but I had waffle, eggs, and bacon. So yeah, I can say it's a tradition.
Did you go to the original Pancake House?
No.
Where'd you go?
My house. Well, I was at an Airbnb.
Oh, Airbnb.
Yep,
Okay.
you know.
I was about to ask what flavor from the
Yeah.
original
Pancake
original
House?
Pancake
Yeah,
House.
but that's just the meal to go to. I mean, it's not really the healthiest, but if it gets you around the track good, I'm gonna keep doing it.
Exactly. Exactly. I love it.
Okay, I know this is probably so far out and you're probably not even thinking about it, but
Yes,
I
ma'am.
have to ask. We've seen you run an 800 this
Yes,
year.
ma'am.
Are we going to see more 800s as a junior?
And can you break the national record in the 800?
See, that's an
There's a debate
There's
going
the
on.
debate, yeah.
Am I gonna run the 800? All depends. It all depends. All depends. I think if I do some, the 800, seriously, when I run the 800, I'm gonna break the 800 down. I promise you. I didn't touch nothing past 300 for the past month before I ran the 800. I don't even know how I ran it. Seriously. I look at the time and see 150, I almost passed out. Out of all the races I ran this year, I think the 800 was the most shocking one. Cause it was just how in the world did I just run 150? I didn't even, Colin was even what are you doing? What, you were at practice dying on a 200 and you over here running an 800 and you just, it was the 800, it was, I'm not gonna lie, that is a hard race. It is a hard race. But I think if I train for it, I think the 400 is harder. I don't know, the 400 is just really extremely hard. It's just all sprint, but like I said, I've trained with the best 800 runners. I've trained with Tenoda, I've trained with Colin, I've trained with many of great 800 runners, and they all have told me, Joe, you can be 800 runner. Cause I can do workouts with them, but it's just you can do it, cause I train with both of them, Colin and Tenoda. We've all trained together, and it's just you have better speed and you have endurance. You might as well just put it together. But I don't know.
Do you want to entertain the idea?
I don't know.
Let's get through the 400 first at possibly the Olympics.
I know.
Then we'll go up to the
I don't
800.
know. We just need more Quincy. Looking forward to next year.
Yeah, I am too. I got something else too.
Uh-oh.
What does that mean?
More in store, 1,500 meter Quincy.
1,500 meters.
Wait, can you give us a tease, a hint?
I can't give you a tease about
Track
that.
or field?
Mm-hmm.
Is it track or field?
I don't know. Like, you remember when I told you when you just like when it came to that 4x4 and you was like, what you got next?
Yeah, what you got next?
I don't know.
Tuned.
Well, I do know. I do know. But yeah, I'm gonna save it for next year. Gotta give it like make it think about it. What is he gonna do? Like I want you to think about it. I want you to think about it. Get it more polls. What's he gonna do? Yeah, one of those type things.
Well, now I'm excited for next year.
Yeah.
But what can you tell us about what stuff in the future past this summer? Going into your junior year, like what are some goals if you even thought that far out?
One thing I can't say about indoor, that 500 national record been on my mind because it's just like I was like 0.2 away from it. Like in the week before I ran that 101, I literally tweaked my hamstring and I came back with barely any training and ran 101. That's one of the records I think I could possibly crack. If you're asking like a record that could possibly crack, but yeah, the 500, maybe the 300. Maybe the 300 record, maybe, and the 400 record. I hope I just improve myself, so I should be able to touch on that a little bit. But yeah.
Maybe the most brutal race of your year was at the Penn Relays.
At Penn Relays.
The 4x4.
Oh yeah, we're coming back harder. Next year. We are coming back harder. Like USA, you're in great hands for the Penn Relays next year. We're coming back hard. Like all the dudes on my team, even though we don't have our first leg, we had our freshman Cam Homer. Cam Homer ran 48 as an 8th grader. He's a dog. He's like you see him at practice and he's up there staying with me in the workouts. Like he's a straight dog. And when we got Colin, he was an 800 runner. He would just come down for the 4x4s. He's a dog as well. We have Alex. He's a dog. We have all these guys go out there and I promise you, the practices is everybody going all out, throwing up by the time we will all be laid out on the hot ground, just dying, just dead. And guess but it pays off. Everybody knows that it pays off. And so I think we're gonna come back really harder, like extremely harder, because we ran 309.39. And like I said, we didn't have our best race. We just came out there and we picked that team, like you said, like a day before again. So like our Penn Relays team, we fell. Alex got hurt, so he wasn't able to run the finals. We put together another team, and that team when we were running the Penn Relays, the final round, that was the most definitely a 307. It was like everybody was running spot on, but everything happens for a reason. So. We had everybody return to Sep 1. He will be missed, but he's going to be pumping us up so we can get around the track. And I think that 307, that's one of those 40-some-year-old records too as well. So I think we have a team, and with Coach Lee as our coach, yeah, we're gonna be ready. Yeah, we're gonna be ready for it.
All right. Is there anything else we want to pick Quincy's brain about?
Any more content creator questions? I know you were in the lounge asking me so many different questions.
Who's your #1 follow on Instagram?
Oh, good one.
Like what do you mean by #1 follow?
Who's the one follow that you cherish? Follower that you cherish?
Ray Lewis.
I was gonna say outside of Ray Lewis. Who's the next one?
It's a lot of people. Zay Flowers followed me today.
Does Usain Bolt follow you?
Nah, he doesn't follow me.
Usain Bolt.
Maybe we need this as a call out.
Nah, Justin Gatlin follows me. But Snoop Dogg, he did go live when I ran. That was cool. When I ran, and he kept calling me nephew, so I was like, "What's up, fam?" So that was cool too. So it was a lot. It was real cool. I mean, all of my followers are cool. Like if they get me around the track. They support me. Well, I mean, you got some of them that just saying outrageous stuff, but those are my motivators right there. So I mean. I love them all.
Okay. One fun question I have. This was a question I was asking a lot of the athletes coming throughout the last couple days. Right. Let's just say you make Team USA and you're on the plane, and Team USA is like, "Hey, Quincy, you can sit next to whoever you want to sit next to on the plane." Right. From Team USA, they could be a track athlete or a non-track athlete. Who are you sitting next to and why?
I'm gonna sit next to LeBron. I'm gonna talk to LeBron.
Everyone's saying LeBron.
I'm gonna sit next to LeBron.
What's the first question you're asking him?
Like, just I'm gonna just be like, I'm gonna tell him. I'm not even gonna ask him. No. I'm gonna just tell him you're a GOAT. Like I mean, you are the GOAT. Like he really is the GOAT. Like overall person, overall family person, overall. Like he's one of the people that you can look at and be like, he's an overall great person, and there's someone that you look up to, and you'd be like, that's a role model right there. So if I get to see LeBron, man, it would be great. Like, it's my dog. I'll be like, what up, dog? Yeah, I hope I get to see him.
I have one final fun question, too. I know you said after your race, like, I can't eat any ice cream yet. Like, I can't celebrate yet.
That happened already. Oh.
Okay, what's your favorite? What flavor did you go with? Was it your usual? Like, what's your favorite?
I got some cookies and cream. But like if you go to Cold Stone, I'm gonna tell you. So you go to Cold Stone and you ask for a cookies and cream milkshake, and you add Kit Kats in the milkshake. Oh my goodness, I promise you that's the best milkshake you ever had.
Interesting.
Cause it doesn't sound like a good combo. And I told my mom, told my dad. I told everybody, they love it. But also, if you go to Starbucks, I'm gonna tell you the best Starbucks drink. But it's too much caffeine. And this is like after track. This is like after track.
Okay.
All right, I got it memorized. So you tell them, you go into Starbucks. They're gonna look at you crazy once you read this law. So you say, may I get a venti iced chai tea latte with 5 pumps of vanilla with vanilla sweet cream cold foam and caramel drizzle on top.
That sounds like my dream! That sounds like something I would dream!
Yeah, that thing is amazing. Like, I promise you.
You said 5 pumps of vanilla?
Yes.
Liv, I think we may need to go to Starbucks now and get you that.
That is what you need, and I promise you go out there and run 42. Like, I promise you, that is, if everybody's been asking me what's my secret this season, I think I've had them once a week, and that's my drink, and I'll just be getting cramps off it because it has too much sugar. But it's just amazing, yeah.
See, you got me with the iced chai.
Iced chai tea
We have
latte.
tried
Sweet
to
cream
persuade her so many times to get coffee.
I'm not coffee.
She never gives in.
It's
that
chai
I
tea.
like.
It's chai tea.
Yeah.
That I like though.
But there's caffeine in it, right?
Yeah. Oh, it's caffeine in it. Well, I'll tell you that now.
And it's like the venti, so it's like
yeah,
the large
it's the
one.
large one. You can get a grande, but I get a venti.
I'm going venti. That's what he drinks, so I gotta drink what Quincy's drinking.
I think we all need to go get that now.
That's I think what we're gonna do
Yeah,
next. That's what we're gonna do
Of course.
next. Oh my gosh, Quincy, thank you so much
course,
for
of course.
your time today. We are so looking forward to everything that is in store for you. We are
Yes, ma'am.
wishing and praying and giving you all the best wishes.
Thank you.
Crossing our fingers for Team USA. But nonetheless, we're excited for that little secret event that you're going to be doing next year. But you guys don't go too far. We're going to the pad, so don't go too far. What a great interview that we just had with Quincy Wilson. So just moving forward into our podcast, the talk of Monday. Gosh, heartbreaking to even have this conversation again, but the reigning 2021 Olympic 800-meter champion, Athing Mu, does not make the team after she hits the track at the 200-meter marks in the final. Nia Akins goes and runs a 1:57.36, while Allie Wilson and Juliet Whitaker of Stanford follow right behind them to make the team. When it happened, the whole entire, outside of the stadium was just like, what did we just see? Did we really just see the worst possible thing that could happen? I can only imagine what it was like inside the stadium for you, Ashley. Can you describe the emotions and just the vibe of it all?
Yeah, I mean, the race starts where everyone's watching, and then all of a sudden, I'm looking up at the Jumbotron because, it's the opposite side of the track. I can't really see all the way out there, and just all of a sudden, you just see someone fall. And, there's just an audible, collective gasp in the stadium, and I look up, and I immediately just kind of blurred. I was like, that's a thing. A thing just fell, and it took her a while to get up, and it's, one of those moments where it's almost hard then to even just follow the race after that, because it's something unfortunate like that. The Olympic champion falling like that, and she's so far behind, and it seems so impossible for her to come back. It's really hard to pay attention to the rest of the race, and I think really that's the biggest takeaway, I think, from just being in the crowd and figuring out what happened. Obviously Nia ran a great race and ran 1:57, and then Allie Wilson finished second, and Juliet Whitaker takes that third spot. But I feel like the crowd almost didn't know how to react in the moment because of something so unfortunate that they just saw happen. That's just something that you can't predict. It happens. Athing Mu, if you look at it, it was really compact at that 200-meter mark, and she just kind of got tripped up and she fell to the track, and some other people were hurdling her and stuff, and it's like one of those things where you want to be excited for the three ladies that made the team, like, you know, because it's just an awesome moment for them, but it's also hard to process that, you know, someone that's been battling so hard to come back and find the love in the sport again had something just so terrible happen.
Corey, what are your thoughts?
Well, there's a ramification to the fall too, because it wasn't only a thing. It was Sage Hurta-Kletter that got caught up in that, and she was considered a contender to qualify for the games. So it impacted her, collateral damage there. I think the larger point too is just how we push the trials forward with our stars. Yeah. You know, Athing had a lot of pressure on her. She obviously is the point person for a lot of promotional material and marketing, and it's like everyone's got their eyes on her. And when situations like this happen, they are the unexpectable, and really it's left people asking, you know, what to do. I even saw a tweet from Steve Magnus last night that said Athing should run a 400 at an open meet coming up in the next weeks, just to maybe prompt the USATF to select her for a relay team to get her to the games. We talked about that, all of us together last night. I think our conversation around Athing isn't over yet, but we'll just have to process that. But I think this is also the reality of having trials. You know, the selection process for USATF is qualifying on merit, merit-based racing. And Nia Atkins said it best. That is life. Yeah. We cannot predict what happens sometimes, and we do have to get through these periods of uncertainty and experience failure sometimes to grow stronger. So it's a really, really hard pill to swallow, but it is track.
Yeah, it is track and field, and you just never know what is going to happen on that. We've been talking about it. We have our picks, we have our selections, and when it comes to racing, you just never know how it's going to unfold. But I had a chance to talk with all three of the top finishers as they came through the content lounge, and I had a chance to talk with Nia, and we, you know, did that workout with her, and we posted her story, Nia Akins, the journey, up on YouTube. So if you have a chance to check that out, definitely do that. It's so fitting as she's literally preparing for the Olympic Games. But I asked her, I said, how has it been since we recorded it? Do you still feel like you're at peace? And she's like, that's just been the word. She's just been so in her element, just taking care of herself. We already know Allie's personality, very bubbly, energetic, and she's like, I didn't even cry. I didn't even know how to respond. And then Juliet was just like, we saw each other and we just embraced each other in the back, and she's like, I'm just so in shock. And you know, I'm really proud of the team that we are sending, and I think we've all discussed the 800 meters itself was just the deepest field. So I feel like we still have a really solid team, but it does feel a little bit weird to not have Athing Mu in that conversation for that.
Think about Nia's story from 2021.
Yeah.
Right? Is this not like a weird parallel, you know, that is now happening with another person? And she said it, you know, she's thought about that moment for a long time, and she got past it and she had to forget about it. But it is a really interesting situation that kind of happened again, and she avoided it. Mm-hmm. Allie Wilson, another really honestly great story.
Yeah.
Allie gave up her sponsorship at Atlanta Track Club to go to Indianapolis to follow her coaches there, and that sponsorship did not follow her. So she had to pick up a job when she went to Indianapolis, and it was hard at times for her to kind of manage everything. Eventually earned a sponsorship back, but it's a really good validating story for her that she made a hard decision in her life with uncertainty, and now is seeing some of this great payoff as a result of it.
Yeah. Any last minute thoughts on just the 800 field?
I think we all talked about this too. This was I feel like one of the first truly shocking moments we've had at the trials, and it's bound to happen, something, like you mentioned, it's the trials, we hold them for a reason. There's surprises, there's things you don't expect, and I think that's really just the biggest takeaway.
So after that crazy 800 meter field, we saw the women's 5K, which was literally a sprint to the finish. You had Ellie St. Pierre just battling it out with Elise Craney. Carissa Schweizer was in the mix to grab the top 3 spots on the podium. Parker Valby, we were all questioning how she was going to approach this, was also in there finishing 4th and hits the Olympic standard, but just did not make that team. But some really bold racing from that 5K. I was honestly not surprised by Parker Valby taking it out from the front. Was anybody else kind of shocked when she did it?
She had to, because she had to make it an honest race to get the Olympic standard to have a chance, right? She didn't have the Olympic standard. She was like less than a second off. So if she wanted to have a shot of making it, she had to get top 3 and get the standard. So I think
wasn't running for the standard though. John made sure to qualify that.
Yeah.
He asked her, he said, so you were going for the standard? She said, well, not technically. It just happened.
I don't know about that. I think that's an avoidance of the question there. But, I think like the takeaways here for me, it's like, how often do you see a 5K come down to 200ths of a second, right? Like it was a battle over the final 2 laps between Ellie St. Pierre and Elise Cranny. Ellie St. Pierre, I think, kind of just dove a little bit further at the line to grab that win over Cranny. But those are the 2 we predicted that we're going to be in that race and looked the best, and that's exactly what happened. And 14:40 there on the win, so that was really, really impressive. And then Krista Schweitzer gets in that 3rd place.
Yeah, with that 14:45, just 5 seconds back. And, as we talked about the Olympic standard with Parker hitting 4th with that 14:51, so solid effort from all the ladies. Was there any moment where we were like, okay, I think Elise Cranny could take over Ellie St. Pierre? I know.
Well, yeah, I think she tried. I mean, she pressed her on the back stretch, trying to make a move on the outside, but Ellie hold the rail, and I think did a really good job maintaining, her position. And Ellie, I think for me, this is her best race, the 5K. I think she's really, really strong there, and she made a very smart, dominant move on Valby, kind of sat on her for such a long time, and that's a pro's move. And then, with Elise and Carissa following, those 3 women, super experienced, understood that it was about timing. It wasn't about necessarily chasing Parker. It was about, when they were ready to go, they would make that move. And I thought, Elle just had just the right moves, I think, at the right time, and she deserved to win with that performance. Yeah.
And I will say, too, there has been I think this is something interesting to follow, too. There's some speculation I've seen that, like, okay, so Ellie St. Pierre makes the 5K team. If she makes the 1500 team, is she going to pick one or the other, right? The 1500 is really kind of, I think, considered like that's the event that she likes to do, and like that's probably her better event. Like, if that's the case, then Parker Valby then takes that next spot. She'd be next woman up.
Yeah,
that is true.
I don't know. I mean, it's possible. If you're her, like, and you go to the Olympics, so you're saying, well, okay, maybe I'm just gonna.
Well, it would depend on the schedule too, right? Because you got to run all the rounds and stuff, and there's multiple rounds.
But I would not give up to. I get that. If you want to be a great teammate, yeah, sure. But I really think the 5K, she's strong in this event. And, I think she should chase after it. But I can understand if that were to happen.
Yeah, I agree. I kind of like the double.
I'm like trying to look up the schedule here, like on the fly. But
yeah,
it's kind of hard to find.
Can we talk about Carissa really quick? Because I know she's been battling through injury. So the fact that she was able to come up and just execute a really great race, I think that's also a really great story too.
Yeah, I mean, she said that she's had a slower build and a quicker one leading into the trials, so she wasn't as confident as she has been in the past, but she knew that, she could get it done. She has been to the Olympics before in 2021. Obviously, she understood the timing and the moment. So it was just about sort of executing on race day, and she obviously understands the situation and knows these women really well. Elise is one of her best friends, and I think they probably talked about this race very often, and they're going to sit together on the plane to Paris.
To Paris. Yeah. Were you able to find it?
No,
it's okay. All right, no worries. Well, a great 5K from those ladies, but y'all, I was on like the edge of like I wasn't in the stands, but I felt like I would have been on the edge of the rail in the stands. I was watching the men's 1500 meters. Cole Hawker with the bold move with 250 meters to go takes down Yard Nagoose, leading 8 men across the finish line underneath the former meet record to win with a 3:30.59. Wow.
Yes.
Just like, I was not expecting that. Like, I think we just went in, well, I personally was like, Yard Nagoose, heavy favorite, can do it. And like, Cole Hawker just had that turnover that Yard just did not have that day.
Yeah, I mean, I think, honestly, this race lived up to all the hype that, like, I think we all were expecting, you know what I mean? Like, I think that coming into this, we knew that it was going to be Yared, Hawker, Hobbs kind of battling up there at the front. But gosh, 3:30. I mean, like if you look at that final lap, like Hawker, made his move up into the front, and it was really, you were right. It was like, was Yared going to respond? And he couldn't respond. Yeah. Hawker just had the lead kick and had that speed. I mean, shoot, 3:30.59 meet record, number 3 in the world currently. I think like one thing that was interesting too is, I listened to, what he said in the mix zone after the race, and he was talking about like, obviously this is his second Olympic team. He made the 1500 team in Tokyo. And he was like, and it's a different situation, right? I came into this with a different mindset because in 2021, he was coming off of an NCAA season that was really good. And he said, I just had nothing to lose, so I went for it. He said this time around, he was like, I felt like I had something to lose, and it was almost like, make this team or bust. I think that was his quote there. And so, I think those are just some good insights into like, seeing how your mindset can shift from one trials to the next. And hey, now he's on his second Olympic team.
Incredible.
A lot of pressure you put on yourself by coming to that realization though. So, but kudos to him. I thought when you look at the race, great tactics, I think, from those men up front. Nagus, you can't fault him.
No.
Bell to bell, I mean, he ran a great race, deserved to be there. 3:31 on any given day, should win. 8 men were under the former meet record here, formerly held by Centrowitz. So, I mean, it was a fast race. And Hawker, to me, just was very aware the whole time. I mean, he could see Nagus and Kessler in front of him. He was in sort of that 3rd, 4th position, and he held his position the whole way through up until maybe less than 300 meters to go, and then decided to go. Great tactics. Hobbs, great tactics as well, sat on Nagus the whole time, and all 3 of those men were really, really ready, and they all deserve to go. I think it's going to be a really awesome Olympic Games with these American men who I think we have a medal chance, I think, with at least one of them, if not 2.
Now I'm just like, I'm really excited because think about all these players involved that could medal. Like I think like you throw them in there, Jakob, Josh Kerr, like all those guys. Like it's going to be probably like one of the races I'm going to be looking forward to most in Paris that we could just, I think, see some craziness happen,
Yes.
I think Hobbs may be the forgotten man a little bit here, but if you look back at what happened at Prefontaine where he got clipped and he's out of the race, we did ask him sort of, if put yourself in that position again, is this a different story where you come in here maybe as a favorite, having a chance in the race? And he said, yeah, if we were to do it over, I think I would have been there. So I think this was a great validation point for him as well to be able to kind of come back and secure a spot. I do want to talk about Vincent Ciate, Nathan Green. I mean, all these guys, the college men. I think the college men learned that you cannot race like you race in college in an Olympic trials final. Yeah. Green had the stuff in the final 200, but he put himself in a poor position and he just couldn't make up the ground.
Yep. It's a whole nother ball game, you know what I mean? Like, and I think a lot of the guys afterwards even said that, like it's just it's different, more pressure, more, again, different race tactics. Like it's just everything. Sometimes your race plan goes out the freaking window and you just have to go off of pure judgment in the moment.
Yeah, and also a lot of them were tired. Like I had I talked to Connor Schulman and J.Q. Scott from A&M as they were coming through. I was like, how did it feel? In your first round, they're like, we're tired. And I was like, totally get it. Like they've just been training for, and even Colin told us he's been training for 11 months.
I get that. They're definitely tired.
Yeah.
But when you're in the position, you forget about that and you compete. And I think these are great lessons for these guys. You look at all the college guys. I think Strand held his ground well. Cook tried to make a move at 400, couldn't. Wascom moved up. Green obviously finished in 5th. I thought they all did well, but they're going to have to take this and move from it. One last thing on the 1500. So many storylines, by the way. Everyone was interviewing every single man in this 1500 meters by Craig Engels. Let's talk about Craig Engels.
It's almost like kind of bittersweet, like but it's also a moment that I can reflect on. And it's almost, I don't know how to describe it. It's like you see someone that he was in the mix zone and just very,
emotional.
Very emotional, tears in his eyes. Just like you can tell that yes, he's this huge personality, but he cares so much about this sport. You know what I mean? And I think that's just again, it's hard to put into words, but it's almost like it reflects an image of the trials. It's full of so many great moments, but it's also full of so many bittersweet moments and moments of heartbreak. And I think it just shows that all these people involved in this sport you're involved in it and you love it and it's a part of your life, and you know, even at the end of the day, you can still be happy and sad at the same time based on your performance. And I think that's kind of what he was reflecting on. It's like he ran a great race. Like, I mean, like he ran a good time for himself, you know what I mean? But it still is like, you know, wasn't enough to make a team. And, you know, reflecting on his point in his career, I think that's really just all it is, you know? It's just like,
And once you hit your 30s, you do have to think about where your life is going. I think professional running is still very much in his life, but he is 30. And, you know, will he get that next shot at 34? Centrowitz, 34, wanted to compete one last time, obviously could not because of an injury. But you have to reflect on all those things when you kind of hit a point in your life, your career. Some of this is like passing you by, and you think about the opportunities that you've gone forward, how the sport has changed around you, and that just hit him like a brick, I think.
Right.
He said he doesn't cry at all, and it's like
it just
came
he
down.
was definitely emotional.
You got to feel it.
Yeah.
And you feel for the man. I hope he makes it, 4 years again. Hopefully it's not Eugene. Maybe it's in LA. We'll see. We'll see. But yeah, it was a good story overall to see him get to the final.
Yeah, as you mentioned, so many storylines just coming from that 1,500-meter race. So I'm happy we were able to unpack that. Let's move on to the women's high jump. Things kind of got a little interesting, played out not what I expected. I don't think any of us kind of expected this either, but Vashti Cunningham does not win the national title. She finishes third. Kentucky's Charity Huffenagel wins with 1.94 meters, does not have the standard, which is 1.97. But Rachel Glenn had the standard with 2 meters earlier this year, so she finished there. And then Cunningham actually went 1.97 meters during the indoor season. So those two are the only ones that have that Olympic standard. So things just got really interesting.
And this is where things get confusing.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, as someone that's not a track and field fan, doesn't know the whole world rankings and all the, the qualifying standards things, this is where it gets weird, because you think, oh, Charity, she wins, she gets to go.
Yeah.
Not the case.
The average person watching. They're
Yeah,
like, she's going, and we're like, oh, no.
But yeah, this was a surprise. I think everyone kind of coming into this figured that, Vashti would win yet again. Like, I mean, when's the last time that Vashti hasn't won a U.S. title?
Her first interview, though, she said she felt more pressure this year than ever before. And
Interesting.
and she had to work within that feeling. Obviously, it affected her yesterday. I don't know. Does this sport get harder the older you get, right?
I wonder, I'm thinking about the high jump as a whole, like, thinking about where Vashti was, like she was the face of high jump, like she was that dominant individual. Now you have athletes like Rachel Glenn who can hurdle but also compete in the high jump and challenge Vashti. So I wonder now if it's just a little bit more of that, American competitiveness that might be just a little bit more challenging.
You're inferring that the sport is passing her by a little bit? Is that what you're saying?
Well,
like there's athletes coming around her and competing? Finally, she's been so dominant, no one's really challenged her, and finally she's getting a run for her money.
I can see it from that standpoint.
And I can just see, like, even if you're so good and you do it for so long and you enjoy it, like, it comes to a point, I'm sure, where it's got to become a little bit like, I don't know if monotonous is the right word, but like, it's like, oh, you just keep going year after year after year.
What are you doing this for?
Yeah. So maybe some of that's involved. Again, I don't want to speculate, but try to get in her mind, but like maybe that's some of it too. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, you talked about the world rankings. Huffnagel, 88 in the world rankings. Jenna Rogers, who tied with Vashti, she's 55, so above where Huffnagel is. I think we saw, at least in the 3K men's steeplechase, where we had a third-place finisher, did not have the standard. Now he's going to chase after, an extra race before, that time comes. I would think Huffnagel, if she can get into a competition and obviously go after it, I think that's probably the objective here for some of these U.S. athletes that want to make the team. And, obviously you've earned the spot. Yeah. It's yours. You just have to get there however it happens.
Yeah, now we're down to the wire, because I think they have to do it by this weekend, right?
Yeah, because that's what we're seeing within the men's steeplechase. James Corrigan's doing it this weekend, trying to get the standard at Franklin Field.
So maybe she goes to Franklin Field.
Maybe
competes in the high jump.
You never know.
I know. Was anybody able? Of course, I'm in the back, so I didn't see it. Were you able to see her 6'5" jumps at all? Like, I know once she won the title, I saw where she went for the standard. I just didn't see how The jump sprint.
I think I saw her last jump, and she just missed it, and then just kind of just waved to the crowd and stuff, giving giving a nod to them for cheering her on the competition. But yeah.
Okay, I didn't know if she barely missed it or if
I think
it was a little bit challenging.
This is a miss. Yeah.
Yeah, I know, but I just didn't know if she just had one more chance, if she could have hit the standard.
Hey, woulda, coulda, shoulda.
Yeah, I know. Got it. All right, let's move on to, I think, one of my favorite moments from yesterday on Monday with Anna Hall. I mentioned her on the podcast multiple times of how honest and vulnerable she is with her followers about her journey. She had a procedure done in January or February earlier this year, and just has been struggling to, I just remember listening to her post-race interview with the broadcast, and she's like, there were moments where I wanted to give up and I was just going to throw in the towel on this Olympic dream, but she has that support of people that are feeding and fueling into her, including Jackie Joyner Kersey, who she mentioned went to one of her practices in Florida to see her and encourage her to keep going. And the emotion she had on her face when she crossed the finish line in that 800 meters, honestly, she had everybody in the back crying. I was just oh, Anna Hall, she did it. So what is our biggest takeaway from just Anna Hall and leading the Americans in Paris?
I think you could see how much this meant to her when she crossed that finish line in the 800, ran 2:04, sealed the deal. She just kind of she just started screaming, you could just let out a scream. And I think that's almost that emotional release of oh my gosh, I finally did it. It was worth it. The comeback journey was worth it. And I think that's why in this reason, this sport is so pure, right? Everyone's going through different things to, chase after their dreams, chase after those Olympic dreams like she was. And, obviously she's been, the face of the women's multis, for the past couple of years on the U.S. level. And I think it's just, again, it's one of those moments where you finally see all that hard work, that cross training, those struggling days at practice, coming back from an injury and procedure like that, finally coming to fruition in a good way.
Yeah.
Yes.
Second at Budapest last year in the HEP, surgery, wins the trials here. I think she has a shot to get gold in Paris. I'll start there. I really do think Anna Hall has a shot to get gold in Paris. But you look back to 2021, she broke her foot at the trials in the hurdles. So when she stepped to the line in the hurdles, she told everybody, she's like, there was a thought in my head that said, this is what happened last time.
Oh, no.
So she had to process it, get through it.
Yeah.
And, obviously it's just about the journey. It's 7 events in the HEP. She's got to get through all of them. It's not about one single thing.
Right.
It's about all these various factors that add up. And then when she was able to get it done, I thought the beautiful part about it was she was able to hug her mom and dad.
Yes.
Her sisters, and get some words of encouragement there. She also reached out to her University of Florida Survivor text chat, which includes Claire Bryant, Jasmine Moore, Ryan Willey, just all of her former teammates there in Florida. That's the support group you just talked about.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's the crew, that's the tribe that gets you to these points in your life, and that's what you're going to remember the most. You might not even remember all these events. You're going to remember the people around you that enables you to get there.
Yeah, and then also finishing second was Carrie Hawkins with 6,456 points, and then Talia Brooks does a great job here, 6,408. So again, just a solid group of ladies representing Team USA. Before we wrap up our show, we got to talk about Grant Holloway. He made his Olympic trials run here, runs the second fastest time in his career in the second round with the 110-meter hurdles, clocking a 12:92, which is a world leading. He was not playing around. And, of course, it's the first round, so Jamal Britt, Trey Cunningham, Daniel Roberts were up next in line, but Grant Holloway just doing Grant Holloway things.
I mean, I think every time he steps onto the track, he sets a new world lead. You know what I mean? Every time this man hurdles, he looks so smooth, just so composed. At this point, he's just, he's a veteran. I would say in the 110 hurdles, I think this is just, I'm just excited to see what happens in the semifinals and the finals and world record, maybe.
Probably. I could see it happening, for sure.
During indoors, you were you didn't think a world record was going to happen. I'm like, oh yeah, he's totally going to break the world record.
You're right.
I think we see him break the world record here.
Yeah,
for sure.
I could see that too. One of his quotes I remember, when somebody asked him about sub 13, he said, man, I know what it feels like. Mm-hmm. I know what it feels like to go sub 13. That's how, his performance yesterday felt to him. But 12:92, every time you do it, it's still important. Every time you get to one of the world leading times, historically, that is important. You look at American hurling in general, just so dominant across the board. You look at the world rankings, Americans littered across there. So this team is going to be really, really hard to make. But they have that weird position where they're competing on Monday, they're off 2 days, they come back to it.
Yeah.
Tough to get re-energized for that reset. Cunningham said he even weightlifted when he came into Eugene, part of his training process to get ready for that final. So everybody's doing different things to get to the same point, but it's an interesting quandary they find themselves in.
Yeah. For those questioning, the world record is 1280, set by Aries Merritt. I actually remember watching that race back in 2012. So the fact that we're going 1292 in the first round and just destroying the competition already speaks volumes on where Grant Holloway is. So again, we have this 2-day break, as Corey mentioned. So starting on Thursday, June 27th, this is what you can expect. The men's 800-meter first round, we're going to have the finals of the women's discus, first round of the men's high jump. We'll see Grant Holloway again in the 110-meter hurdles, the first round of the women's 1500 and the 200. So we'll start to see Gabby Thomas out there, and we'll see Mackenzie Long as well. Speaking of long, women's long jump, that's what was up next. First round, the 400-meter hurdles, discus throw, first round of the 400-meter hurdles, and then the women's 3,000-meter steeplechase final will wrap up Thursday. Again, if you want more of this content, please check us out on YouTube, our site as well. We're dropping all the Instagram reels, the shorts, putting up amazing mixed race interviews, and of course the fun content from the Content Lounge. So thank you guys so much for joining us, and we'll see you at Hayward Field.